Hello everyone, thanks for tuning in. I don't know if you've seen the other videos about removing the rear subframe and all suspension off the back of my MGZ TT. There it is. Is the one rear arm that's snapped. Well, not totally snapped, but not far away, as you can see. That's the one upper arm. As you can see there, it's as good as snap through. I mean, it has been on the car for 17 years and 170,000 miles. So corrosion has finally taken hold and sorted it out. So I bought new rear arms, and when I got underneath the car then to loosen everything off, pretty much everything was in the same sort of state. Not as bad as that's the worst bit. So I decided to remove the whole subframe, clean up and replace pretty much everything. So there's my rear subframe. Basically the same rear subframe, just had it all cleaned up and painted. And the only thing I've got to do now, which is recommended to me, is to wax all inside it. So I'm going to do that before it goes back on the car. I've got to wax all the base of the car first. So I'm just going to build it up off the car, just to show you basically, if you have watched the other videos and it's not quite clear how it all fits together, my rear trailer arms, again, just cleaned up and painted, had new bushes fitted in, all three. So you got the big bush there that bolts underneath the car, and then top and bottom bushes there where the upper and lower arms go. The wire here is the ABS sensor. I wasn't going to attempt getting the sensor out of the wheel hub, so I just disconnected it from behind the back seats and pulled it through and left it attached. If you have watched the other videos, local garage on the way to shopping, dropped it off. They took out the bolts for the shock absorbers for me because they were rounded off or seized in. Also the one hub nut that started to round off, and also got the bushes out and put the bushes in for me. I did try to do it and I just couldn't get them to budge. Even they said they had terrible trouble doing it, but they did it in the end. They got better tools than me. So the bracket that holds the trailer arm to the car, again, just cleaned up and painted. It was, pretty good condition, a bit surface rust, but both of them cleaned up and been painted. Okay, so I've got brand new upper arms, as you can see, X-part ones, so genuine parts. Also the lower arms. This is my plastic bit of tubing that goes on the lower arms, which I just cleaned up basically. I've got new nuts and bolts for the bush there on the trailer arm as it goes through its bracket. New subframe bolts, so I've built the subframe back to the car. This is the fuel cooler air deflector for the diesels. Mine, I was going to try and use mine, but when I tried undoing it, the rivets snapped off and just pulled the bracket straight off the hub. Luckily there was one on eBay for a good price, so I've got a brand new one of them. These are the brackets that come off the trailer arms that hold the brake hoses. I've got new bolts for the shock absorbers for the lower mounts because I had to take them, I couldn't get them off, so I took the shocks off from inside the boot. New brackets, bushes and bolts, the anti-roll bar. New drop links, new bolts for bolting the trailer arm to the car. Now these were a surprise to me. These are new bolts to bolt the brake back plates to the hub. I was amazed I could get these, but I did. So I've also got new brake back plates and handbrake shoes and the adjusters and everything. That came as a whole kit. Just the back plates there as you see them now, from discount MG Rover supplies, which I'll put a link in the description. Just under £130 delivered. Mine were a bit mangled up. New bolts there then for the upper and lower arms and the nuts as well. And there's my shock absorber lower mounting bush thing, whatever you want to call it, which again is fine, it's just been cleaned up and painted. I've also had to get a new hub because my one hub came apart. The other one came off no problem at all, which is one I've replaced in the past when had a problem with the ABS light staying on, traced it back to the hub, being a bit rusty. So there's a new hub to be fitted as well. I've also then got new brake discs and pads as well to fit on, and handbrake cables which haven't arrived yet. So I'm not going to do it all today. I need to get those handbrake cables so I can get them fitted to finish it off. But otherwise, the only other thing is the 4 big washers for the subframe to the car, which again I've cleaned it and just painted. It doesn't look the best paint job, but you know, let's face it, the only people who are going to see it are the people in the garage when the car goes up on ramps and anyone I'll run over. And I don't plan on doing that one. So not too worried about the finish on them. But otherwise, my springs and shocks are fairly new. They've all just been cleaned up. There's a rear spring, and the bushes and mountains, again just cleaned them up basically. Shock absorbers, again just, if you're wondering what this is a wire tie which I put it on, so I know this is the driver's side spring, so I can put it back on the car in the same position it came off. So I'm going to clear some space and I start fitting the upper and lower arms into the nuts. Everything is going to be loosely fitted until it's bolted back to the car. The car's back on its wheels, and you torque everything up then to its specified torque. So some of the things I'm not going to be able to do properly today. Like I said, I want to try and get those handbrakes fitted, handbrake cables fitted before it goes back on its wheels, because obviously it won't have a handbrake. So I'll go through the procedure here so you can see it in the video. So if you are planning on doing it yourself, you can see what goes where, and even if you're then going to remove it and strip it down. Because if you did watch my other videos, they weren't very clear because it was hard work filming one-handed. So I'm going to do my best now to try and just show where everything goes basically. So I'm going to fit the upper and lower arms, bolt them up, again not fully tight because they need to be tightened up and torqued on the car when it's on its wheels. I'm going to put the brackets on the trailing arms, the brackets to fit to the car, and fit the anti-roll bar. Oh, I forgot to get the anti-roll bar out. It's in the garage somewhere. That's also been cleaned up and painted as well. So let's clear some space and sort out which arm is which, and let's get fitting. Okay, so the upper arms have been removed. Okay, what I'm also going to do with these as well, so I'm just going to put them in loosely because they need to be tightened up on the car. But I'm also going to get some Waxall inside as well. I'm going to put some in the base of the spring seat, dirt and all that sort of gets in, and things like this you don't really clean. So okay, but inside here as well, there's a few holes underneath, so get some Waxall in all them, hopefully make them last a bit longer as well. Now they are sided. Okay, so that's the part number for the one for the right hand side, and that's the part number for the one for the left hand side. So make sure you put them on the right side, otherwise it'll be wrong. Okay, and these are the lower arms. Okay, and that's the part number for the lower arm, and they're both exactly the same, so it doesn't matter which one you buy, it will fit both sides. So I'm going to fit the lower arms first, as they'll be at the bottom. So that's the subframe. Okay, so this is looking from the front of the car to the back of the car. That's how it'll fit to the car. Okay, so we've got cap nuts now for the bolts for the subframe. Okay, so in there is the bolt for the upper arm, and that one there then is the bolt for the lower arm. Okay, so on the car these are quite easy to get for the lower arm, but the top ones for the upper arm, there's not much room. You need a deep socket, 15mm. I think on one of my other videos I said it was 16mm. Well, the bolt started off as 60mm, but as soon as it rounded all the rust off, it then became a 15mm bolt. So it is a 15mm bolt in there, but there's just not much room to get at it. Okay, so you need a 15mm deep socket with a short extension to be able to get your ratchet or breaker bar or whatever on there. Again, depending on how much room you've got underneath the car, then maybe we can get a pry bar on there as well. Sorry, not a pry bar, an extra bar or something just to get a bit more leverage. As it was, I left them attached and just dropped the subframe, which is just the 4 bolts, and then took it off the car. So I had a lot easier access in, and the captive nuts apparently inside can snap off. and then you then have trouble. But just at the top here is the captive nut in there. I don't know if you can see it. Okay, so you then need to grip hold of that. Again, there's the one for the other one. Grip hold of that then, so you can undo them. Someone else has recommended that you cut part of the subframe here out so you can get at it, weld the new captive nut in there, and then weld the subframe back together again. Thankfully, I didn't have to do that. So again, I'm going to get some wax all inside all there as well to protect this captive nuts and the inside of the subframe. It is my original subframe, just surface rust on the mini, no damage at all. So it's just been cleaned up, taken back to metal and painted. So let's fit the lower arms. So I'm going to try and fit the lower arm in one-handed, so I have to hold the phone. Okay, so it just slots in this lower groove there. Went a bit easier than I thought. I thought it would have been a bit of a tighter fit there. Okay, get one of my bolts. So you can see there, I'll just pop it up. Okay, so you can see it doesn't quite, it's also just place it up a little bit. Just going to drop down then. Okay. So yeah, I think I'm going to need two arms of this one just to hold it up. So you can just hold the old camera up there so you can see. Not much success with this one. I have to buy a stand, I think. Or grow an extra arm. So not lining up the other side. Turn this over a minute. Okay, so I've got one arm in. However, there's a bit of a problem with this other one. So when I tried to put in this, it just wouldn't go in at all. And the problem is, for some reason, the bolt won't go through the middle. And it slid quite through the other one, no problem at all. Either side. Now, looking inside, you can see, I don't know if you can see it on the video there, it's just a bit of a something in the middle of it, so I'm going to have to drill that out, I think, to get it to fit through. But subframe now is upside down. The one arm's in, I've copper greased the bolt has just gone through, and just tighten it up. It's not very tight because, again, like I said, it needs to be tightened up with the car on its wheels. So next job, drill out whatever's in the middle of that so the bolt fits through, so I can get the other arm on. Okay, so I didn't actually drill it because I didn't have a drill bit big enough, but what I did do was just file the inside of it to see if I can get in there. Oh, for God's sake. Okay, and I finally got it through. Took a while. Now the bolt goes straight through, because the bolt was just going in not at all virtually, but then eventually it went in so far, but now it does actually go in all the way. So what I would say, it's still a bit notchy there. Check to make sure the bolt fits through the hole first before you start mounting it. Now it does. I'll put the other lower arm on. Okay, so that was more work than what it needed to be, but anyway, the lower arms are now on. The new bolts are 16mm, whereas the original ones are 15. So just bear that in mind. If you have got a 16mm bolt on it, it's probably been changed before. Right, let's hope we don't have as much grief now with the upper arms. Okay, welcome back again. Right, the top arms, lower arms are now in. The top arms were a total faff. You probably need an assistant because you can't see the other end where the bolt's coming through. So you need to hold the arm in position to get the bolt through the holes there whilst doing it. So really you do need 4 pairs of arms. I had one at me holding the torch and the bolt, and my son then came out to hold the arm up into position so I could get the bolt in. Otherwise it all went in no problem at all. Okay, so the upper arm bolts going through there. Like I said, they are awkward to get at, and they're in to hold it on. They're not done up because, again, like I said, it needs to be done up with the car on the wheels. The lower bolts are in, they're in there. They weren't too bad once I sorted out the inside of the bush. Okay, so that's basically the subframe. The only thing next to do I'll put on is the anti-roll bar, and I'm going to put the hubs onto the end of the arms there, because I'm going to fit the hubs and the trailing arm to the car first, because it'll be less weight for me to try and carry this and lift up then on the jack underneath and bolt it up to the subframe up to the car. So I'm leaving the subframe as it is there for the moment, but if you are going to build it up yourself, nice and simple, there's your trailing arm, your lower bush, your upper bush, lower bush in through there, upper bush in through there, and then I've got the mounting to the car there. I just got a nut and bolt to put through the inner bush there, and then just put this into position for the brake hose, tighten out there. Then I think there's an 8mm socket, maybe a 10. That's a 10mm spanner. Oh, it's too big, so yeah, it's an 8mm. So just an 8mm nut, just to tighten up on the hub, on the radius, on the trailer arm, sorry. Same on this side. And then there's 4 bolts for the holes there onto the car. So, hope you find this helpful so far. So it's fairly simple. It is simple, just awkward. And so you do need quite a few pairs of hands. It is basically just a little bolting it together. Okay, so next I'm going to put the bolts through the trailing arm bush there. The trailing arm there is ready to be bolted to the car. Once it's bolted to the car, I'll put the subframe on the car. And I'm going to put the upper and lower arms then through their bushes on the trailing arm. I can then attach the shock absorber and the springs. But first I'm going to wax oil all inside the subframe and get some wax oil inside the trailing arm. I've also got to wax oil the floor of the car then, where the subframe is going to go, so underneath the subframe I'm going to wax all that as well. So let's crack on with that. Okay, so I'm going to fit the trailing arm. Okay, I'm going to fit the trailing arm now and its bracket. Okay, so the bracket I've put on temporarily. So this is the passenger side trailing arm. Okay, so the bracket will look like that for the passenger side. Okay, and the bolt and the nut. I've got new nut and bolt. Okay, you just need to line the holes up on the bush there. Put some copper grease on the bolt and the nut and stick it through. Okay, so I've got the nut and bolt fit through. Okay, the bolt, or the nut, as easy to explain, goes on the same side as the arm. Okay, so the bolt will come in through the other side. Okay, so I've got a 16mm bolt head with an 18 nut, so just tighten them up. Okay, so both trailing arm bushes on their mounting plates, and they're bolted in. This is a nut that goes on the outside of the trailing arm, sorry, the bolt. The nut goes on the inside. Okay, it's up to where I want to look at it, the way I look at it, the nut goes with the trailing arm. Okay, so I said if you want to, you can connect them up now to the subframe. I'm not going to, just because of the weight it's going to have and the awkwardness then to put it back to the car. So I'm keeping the subframe like that. The trailing arm's going to stay like that. I've copper greased them, the bolts, as they've gone through the bushes. Hopefully that'll stop them seizing if they ever do need to come apart again, which they shouldn't do. So basically now, just got to bolt it to the car. Okay, just about to mount the subframe to the car. So I bought 4 new bolts. They do come separately packed. Okay, but there you go. Here's the part number. Going to recoil them. Okay, so I'm going to put the rear subframe. It's in the position it needs to go in the car. I'm going to space that on a block of wood underneath my jack. Wheel it under the car, jack it up, line it all up, and then bolt it on. The only thing I haven't fitted yet, which you can if you want to, is the anti-roll bar. I'm going to fit that when it's on the car, mainly just to sort of save on a bit of extra weight, because I'll try and do this all by myself. So if you've got someone to help you, then obviously you can use the lift a little bit easier. I'm just cutting down on things that I don't need to fit. I can fit them afterwards. So it's just the upper and lower arms and the subframe. So let's mount it to the car. Okay, right. Fitting the rear subframe back to the car by yourself is doable. It's hard work. I haven't put the washers in yet. However, I've done. Just got it all in position and just bolted in the bolts, so I know it's on properly. And I'll take the bolts out individually, put the washers in there. I'll admit it, I forgot about them. But I said it was hard work getting in position. I managed to get these longest ones here, the 2 inboard ones, if you like, I left to the end. As soon as these 2 were in, it was virtually in position anyway. Jacking a block of wood underneath it. Like I said, it's a bit weighty when you're lying on your side. That's why you might just want to put the subframe in and put everything else in together, but I only put the upper and lower arms on. So I'm just going to take these back bolts here out now, put the washers in with them, tighten them up, take the front ones then back out, because they were the easiest ones to get at. Put the washers on them, tighten them back up again, and then tighten it up then to the car. Again, I'll check the manual then, whether you got a, in fact it doesn't actually say in the manual about tightening it off the car or when the car's on its weight. So I'm going to do what I'm doing with everything else. I'll tighten them up for now so it's on, and then as soon as the car's back on wheels, I'll get underneath again then and tighten them up then to the torque that says in the book. So yeah, subframe's back on, looking good. So as soon as I get these bolts in and the washers, I can then get the trailing arm on, get that mounted, put the spring and the shock absorber back in, and that's the rear suspension back on. Just like I said, then gotta wait for the handbrake cables then before I can sort out the rear brakes. Like I said, it is doable. It's hard work, takes a bit of fiddling around and just wiggling it in position. Like I said, the hardest part is where you're lying on your side, trying to get the subframe into position. You'll use your legs on one half of it and support with your arms, and then all sorts. But it's doable. 1 man, 2's better, because obviously, or 3 even, because you can get 1 person each side to hold the arms up, some underneath then to tell them left, right, forward, backwards, whatever, and get the bolts lined up. But on your own, it is doable. Okay, let's crack on with getting these bolts in. Okay, so here we go. It's now back attached to the car. Jack is out. All on. So you can see it's bolted up fairly tight, just to make sure. So all these are still a little bit loose because they're not tightened up fully. Need to tighten them up, torque them up then when the car is on its wheels. So rear subframe on. Right, you get the springs, the shocks, and the trailing arms, and we'll get them on as well. Okay, so the trailing arm Got 3 new bolts, bought them off eBay. Got new bolts for the upper and lower arms, and then a new bolt for the bottom of the shock, and my one stuck in there rendered. There's the bar number if you need that one. So the bottle jack in there to act as an extra hand. Put the trailing arm into position, support it with the bottle jack, bolt up the 3 bolts to mount it to the body. Again, I'm only going to put them up fairly tight, not going to torque them up until the weight the car's on. And I can get the top button bolt in, get the spring in, and then put the shock on. Okay, so trailing arms on. What I've done, bungee cord and the upper and lower arms because they get in the way and annoy me. So I've bungee cord them up into the shock absorber just to hold them up while I got round there. It's on the bottle jack now, just about. It actually just holds itself there at the moment. I didn't actually need the bottle jack because I just rested it on my leg as I led down by the side of the car. See, health and safety probably wouldn't allow that, but hey ho, they didn't see me. So I'm going to fit the spring and then the lower and top arms and put the shock on, and then this side is complete then, apart from, like I said, the handbrake then waiting for the cables to arrive. The suspension is back on. So on with the spring and the arms. Okay, so for the spring, it goes in the same way as it, well, the opposite way really of how it came out, which is the bayonet fixed in there, the bottom sits in the groove, so you just put it in the groove like so. Where is it? There you go, push it down and then just twist it. But also what you need to bear in mind as well, there's 2 drain holes there. Okay, so they need to line up with the cutouts. Okay, there are 2 on each side, so shouldn't be a problem getting it correct, but make sure they do, otherwise the water won't drain away and you end up with a rusty top arm again, and you'll be doing this all over again. So that's the way I want it. So I need 2 hands for this, I think. Hang on a second. Okay, so finally got it all in. Took a bit of wiggling to get the old top joint there in. Again, it's done up. It's not done up tight. Like I said, everything's got to be set up with the car on its wheels. But the spring is in. The spring isn't quite reaching up into the thing, so it just needs to jack that up. It sits in a little groove there itself. What I've done is put some wax oil in there as well, and also down in the weld here. As you can see, the holes for the drain are still there. What I found with the spring was quite hard getting in, but then all of a sudden it turned it a full 90 degrees and it slotted in, so it looks like it goes in one way and then you just twist it around to where you want it. So if you can't get it in, it's slot it in the hole, no problem. Bit of grease on the bottom just to ease it in. But I said it didn't seem to want to go in its hole first of all, so I just swapped around 90 degrees and it's just slotted in then. So I said it's in now, and it just twists itself round and about. You just need to make sure that you line up both holes. Like I got lined up there. Again, the one hole, I don't know if you can see it there, the one hole is free, but the other one isn't. So spin it round until that hole is free and that hole is free. Okay, so make sure you do sit them right so the water does drain out and doesn't sit in there and rust them out. Okay, so just to put the shock absorber on now. So as soon as the shock's on, it'll raise the arm up and the spring might then sit in its hole at the top there. And then this side then is done. Okay, and shock absorber done. Again, gonna not tighten it fully until the car's on the weight. I just need to support it while you lift it up. So there we go. It's just the anti-roll bar to fit, which I'll do once I've done both sides on. So it should line up quite nicely then. Just gonna put the that's all I should do. Put the drop links in there. Now the spring's in, it's gonna be a bit more fiddly to get at. So there you go. Top tip: put the drop links on before you put the spring on, because it'll just be a bit easier to get at. Should be alright though. So drop links, do the other side, anti-roll bar, and then wait for the handbrake cables, sort the handbrake out, put the wheels back on, drop it down, put it back up on the wrap so the weight of the car is on there, and then tighten all the bolts up to the recommended torque. And that is how you remove, clean, repair, whatever, a rear subframe on the MG Rover 75. MG ZT and ZTT Rover 75 are all the same underneath. So there you go. Hopefully you found this helpful and interesting. As I said, the next video will be on sorting out the handbrake. Another common problem on these cars is the handbrake never seems to work properly. Hopefully mine should work well. Thanks for watching. See you again. Okay, fitting out the ABS sensors. Can be a little tricky because there's the hole for the sensor to go through. So you gotta wangle the sensor in there. It's getting dark now as well, so it's a bit more difficult to actually show you this. See what else? This ain't gonna be a one-handed job neither. But anyway, either way. Okay, so ABS sensor one clips in to the holes on the upper arm, which I'll show you afterwards. Now I've got everything in position. Okay, just feed the blue plug in through the hole. Here's my torch. Hang on a second. Okay, just feed the sensor and the wire in through the hole there, and you've got a grommet then, which push fits in. It's very, very tight fit, but it does. There you go. Go in. Okay. Okay, so there you go. Grommet's in. Okay, and then you got the holes here on the upper arm. Okay, where the wire then folds through and clips in. Okay, so the driver's side, by the way. Okay, so that clips into the arm there, and just up there somewhere then, you can find it. I think it's on the driver's side, just behind those pipes. There's another black clip, which the wire then clips into as well. It's going to be a little slidey one on the passenger side. There you go, there it is there. You just clip it in there. Okay. Okay, quick update for you. It wasn't under those pipes in the corner that I showed you. On my torch. Okay, it wasn't under those ones. It was under the ones there. Just a little bit more central underneath them. If you can see it clipped in. It's too dark and too difficult to see. But anyway, you've got two running along the edge. It's not under them. It's under the other two that run across the width of the car. Okay, so once you've got the sensors into the car, just behind the back seats, just at the boot floor, is the wiring in the car for them. So just gotta find them. There you go. So it comes up through the floor there, and then just in there's the blue connector. So you just feed it between them, plug them in. See them on the passenger side. You guys see the two connectors. Plug them in, and that's where they go. And then if you've got the tool tray that goes around the boot like I have, put that back.